Hey everybody, it's Derek here. We're going to take a look at the news from the 22nd to the 28th of November 2021. So first up, we have a bit of fallout from last week's news around Bobby Kotick being caught with knowing all about all of the harassment shit that had been happening at the company. So late on Friday, he had a meeting with a bunch of executives and senior managers where he said that he'd consider quitting if he couldn't fix the company's culture that he's been responsible for 20 years now. So good luck with that. Besieged Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick, who was last week the subject of staff walkouts, shareholder calls for his resignation, yada yada, reportedly said he would consider leaving the company if he can't speedily address the harassment issues that have made headlines around the world. He would consider leaving the company if he can't quickly fix the culture problems at the video game giant. Now, one, he's not responsible for fixing this because he's the problem. And two, how long have you had to do this now? Like, the lawsuit that kicked all of this shit off is months ago at this point. You could have at any time, you know, actually done something about it. Your ridiculous salary would suggest you're supposed to be the one who actually fixes these things and keeps the company running and not have all this shit happen. And then three, whose timeline? Who suggests that it's quick enough? Because the board are all standing behind him. The shareholders and employees are already calling for his resignation. So, whose timeline are we sticking to for quick enough? You know, who's going with that? So, yeah, I don't think this is going to be happening anytime soon. Following on from Sony's Jim Ryan and Xbox Phil Spencer, who also put out messages and emails to staff, internal memos that were eventually sent out to press, or leaked to press, I'm not sure, but they were confirmed by the respective publishers. But then Nintendo, over the weekend, also Nintendo's Doug Bowser, taking over for Reggie, also sent out an internal memo to employees of Nintendo to say mostly the same stuff, echoing the same things that Sony and Xbox were saying. I find these accounts distressing and disturbing. We have taken action and are assessing others. He then called out the ESA to actually say something about this. You know, companies in the industry must create an environment where everyone is respected and treated as equal. So the ESA, if you're not familiar, the Electronic Services or Electronic Software Association, something like that, they're like a big lobbying industry body for the video game industry. They're responsible for E3, but they're also responsible for representing business interests, more or less, in government proceedings and things like that. So they're like a big umbrella company that all of these other companies would sign up to. So Nintendo, Xbox, Sony, Activision, EA, Ubisoft, a lot of them are all part of the ESA. And game industry went to check on the ESA and hey, Doug Bowser called you out. Do you have anything to say about this? And they responded without directly referring to Activision Blizzard. So this is a big trying to keep their distance from this. This is a big, we want to stay at arm's length from this shit. Harassment, abuse, or mistreatment of any kind in the workplace is unacceptable and must never be tolerated. Yeah, no shit, because it's literally illegal. It's not like they can say it can be tolerated, even though it is in a lot of companies and a lot of industries. It's not like this is unique to video games or anything. But this is a video game channel, so that's why I'm talking about that. But it's not like this kind of shit doesn't happen everywhere. The ESA obviously wants to not tar Activision Blizzard for some reason, I guess because they pay them. They're kind of their boss in some sense. It might be a question of whether the other members of the ESA decide to kick them out, but do remember that Ubisoft are also part of the ESA, and you know, they are also dealing with their own sexual harassment and pay discrimination, gender discrimination problems as well, currently ongoing. They are also doing nothing about it. They're doing about as much as Activision is. So Activision's Blizzard's attempt to do something about this is Bobby trying to quickly fix the company culture that he's had 20 years to fix, that he could have done, and has absolutely like been the main perpetrator of these kind of things. He's allowed this to happen. But Activision Blizzard have formed a new workplace responsibility committee. And who is on the workplace responsibility committee? Is it the actual employees who have to deal with all this stuff all the time? Is it the shareholders who would have a vested interest in it? No, it's the board members who are already behind Bobby. You know, they're already like they have confidence in him. What is the point of this committee? The committee will be led by 2 board directors who report directly to Bobby. Great. What is the point? Hey, all this harassment you're doing it. Oh, thank you for the report. It's kind of ridiculous because the board has like already said they have full confidence in Bobby. So like, what is the point of this workplace responsibility committee if they already have confidence in him? This is pure window dressing. It's pure like a token effort, and even more so because it's going to be headed by the only 2 women on the board of directors. That's it. It's like, this could not be a more token effort. This falls along the exact same lines as them giving the presidency of Blizzard to a man and a woman, and then not paying her the same amount. Like it's the same thing. It's a token effort. The committee's remit involves setting key performance indicators and other means of measuring progress. Other means of measuring progress and accountability at the company. So they'll send out some emails. That's about it. That's about all that will happen. So unsurprisingly, the actual workers at Activision Blizzard are like, what is this bullshit? They're like, why isn't there a non-board member on this? Why hasn't a non-board member employee been invited to join this committee, and so on? Yeah, this tweet basically just sums it up. It's like the board are already behind Bobby. They themselves, by already voting for confidence in Bobby, do not see a requirement for this workplace responsibility committee, so putting them in charge of it makes no sense. And obviously they're not going to put an employee in charge of it because they're like, we don't need this. You just need to go. You just need to resign, Bobby. Go away and take pretty much the entire board with you. Anyway, this is the part now where we would talk about new game releases this week, but there weren't any. There were games. Games did come out. Death's Door was released for PlayStation and Switch, which had previously come out on Xbox. That's why I'm not showing it again, because I've already shown it as a new release. But also, it's Thanksgiving week for America, so they're not going to be playing many games because they'll be spending time with their families or whatever. And other companies who don't work in America or live in America don't want to release their games at that time because America is the United States is a giant chunk of their market, so they're not going to release games at that point. They're also not really going to release any news either, so we don't have any updates or announcements or that kind of thing. Lots of like rumors and reports and shit, but I don't do any news about them because they're rumors. I need facts. I don't want to speculate. So we'll jump straight to the part where we talk about the bad things of our favorite things. I absolutely need to write this down. It is now time to talk about the worst part of our favorite hobby, video game industry, something like that. Anyway, so Jim Ryan was all about Activision should treat their employees better, rah rah rah, and then PlayStation is facing a gender discrimination and harassment lawsuit. Oops, Jim, you fucked up. This is former employee IT security analyst Emma Mayo, I don't know how you pronounce her name, claims that Sony tolerates and cultivates a work environment that discriminates against female employees who are subjected to continuing unlawful disparate treatment in pay and work opportunities. So the issue at fault here, or what the lawsuit is about, is that there's pay disparity between men and women in the company, and also there are fewer or to zero opportunities for advancement for women over men. And that is the issue with this lawsuit. Continues to say that Sony's discriminatory employment policies, practices, and procedures are not unique or limited to any location. Rather, they apply uniformly and systematically to employees throughout Sony. So Sony in general, not just PlayStation. Occurring as a pattern and practice throughout all locations. So everywhere. It's not just America, it's not just in California, it's not just whatever. This is a company-wide problem. And again, not just limited to PlayStation. It's Sony in general. Not great. The plaintiff has also requested court approval to expand the lawsuit into a class action. Wow, get fucked. Get fucked, Sony. So this is opening it up to other employees who may have also felt pay discrimination or wrongful termination or whatever else, opening out for the last 4 years. IT security analyst Emma Majo had been working with the company for 5 years, I think. As for the wrongful termination issue, sorry, this is for the career progression stuff. Her superiors blocked any chance of career progression. She was dismissed earlier this year, soon after submitting a complaint to the company about gender bias. Sony said her termination was a result of the closure of a department she worked in, but she claims she wasn't a member of the department in question. So it's like, we're gonna just add your name to this department, and then we're gonna ask the department, fuck you. So basically she's saying, no, you're not allowed to do that. This is wrongful termination. It's illegal. I'm suing you. The rest of this is just to say financial losses, severe stress, mental anguish, we're entitled to this amount of money or whatever. And then the rest of it is just highlighting that. Jim Ryan was all about saying, hey, there's no place for pay discrimination and so on, or pay disparity and gender discrimination and so on, and then they're just hit with a lawsuit, right? Like, pretty much the exact same thing, except for there's no mention of sexual harassment, at least in this lawsuit. It might come up as part of the class action. And then elsewhere, we have Dragon Age senior creative director leaves BioWare, so Matt Goldman has stepped down. He's no longer creative director for Dragon Age. So, like, one person just like stepping down from their job is not a big deal, but the thing is, the Dragon Age senior creative director position has changed hands so many times. He's like the fourth one to step down or something. Matt Goldman has left developer BioWare. EA has confirmed his departure. He's worked at BioWare since 1998. Fuck, he's been there a long time. Long time. He worked on maybe a different article. No, it's here. Goldman's early career at BioWare, he was art director on Dragon Age and Jade Empire, and then he assisted, doesn't say what he assisted doing, I presume art direction again, on Dragon Age Inquisition and Mass Effect Andromeda. Although, I mean, the art direction wasn't the issue in Andromeda, so that's probably fine. Gary McKay, who is, I believe, studio head for BioWare at the moment, basically sent out an email to say, Matt's leaving us, we wish him all the best in the future, and then talking about the Dragon Age 4, or whatever they end up calling it. Rest assured, our commitment to a high-quality Dragon Age game has not wavered, and we will not ship a game that is not up to BioWare's standards. BioWare's last two games were Anthem and Mass Effect Andromeda. BioWare doesn't really have standards anymore, it would seem. Now, to be fair, the entire development of Mass Effect Andromeda was hindered by Anthem. Like, that was the reason for it. They were poaching like talented staff to go over and do Anthem stuff instead. And then we haven't really got the what do you call it? The post-op. There's a better word for it, but you know, what the fuck happened with Anthem. There's some ideas, and like they kept changing their mind. They needed a firm hand, and like creative decisions were being chopped and changed really late into development, stuff like that. And then they were poaching people off the Andromeda team, and the Andromeda game obviously suffered because of that. And the release date for that was never put back, so they had to ship what they had. And Anthem, despite having a fairly lengthy development process, was scrapped multiple times in between, so the game itself was probably only worked on for like 2 years or something like that. So yeah, hopefully they've taken a longer run at it this time. Dragon Age 4, whatever it's going to be, has been in development since 2017. No, sorry, well, I gotta change that again. He stepped in, so this is Matt Goldman, stepped in as creative lead on the next still untitled Dragon Age game in 2017. So he stepped in then. So it's been in development even longer than that. When did the Inquisition come out? Fucking ages ago, because it was a PS3, PS4 cross-gen game. So yeah, it's been a while since there's been another Dragon Age. Following the departure of fellow BioWare veteran Mike Laidlaw. So Mike Laidlaw was creative director, he stepped down. And then Casey Hudson and Mike Dara also were similarly attached to Dragon Age at one point. Again, also stepped down. Yeah, things are not looking good for whatever Dragon Age 4 ends up being called. Anyway. Okay, so last thing, some dumb stuff to finish off. Former Nintendo exec Reggie Fils-Aime hosts Xbox event for some reason. So this is like, it was a round table where they were discussing a lot of stuff for Xbox. It was like their 20th anniversary last week before maybe. And they had a big round table thing where a bunch of other Xbox studio heads all chatted about how great Xbox is, basically. But it's pretty funny because Reggie interjected multiple times to like go, hey, Nintendo's pretty good too. It's like he doesn't even work for them anymore, but he's still like a cheerleader. It's pretty funny. It's like, I'm sure at this point you're wondering, what is the former president and chief operating officer of Nintendo of America doing at a Microsoft Xbox event? It's like, I don't know why I'm here either. It's pretty funny. I guess he's just there as like a neutral moderator, I guess is a way to put it, but he's also like a well-known figurehead, and he's currently not attached to Nintendo, so there isn't really a competition. He does mention like multiple times in the chat that like he was like a competitor and like we competed fiercely with Microsoft, but we also worked together to do a bunch of stuff, things like that. But there's a couple of like times where he interjects and talks about the Wii and Nintendo DS, which is pretty funny. It's like, certainly I take a lot of pride looking at the Nintendo DS. It was a 2-screen thing, it was a touchscreen thing. And I have to sneak it in, during that generation, the Wii was the top selling console. Fuck you and your Xbox 360. The Wii was better. When Moore talked about viewing 3D sports on hopefully Surface in the future, Reggie chimed in and say, maybe on your 3DS. It's like hilarious. He's like still such a cheerleader for the company and still fucking trolling Microsoft. It's pretty funny. Anyway, that's the news for 22nd to 28th of November 2021. Again, it's Thanksgiving week for the United States, so both their press people and, you know, developers, game releases and so on are all taking a break that week, and similarly the rest of the world will not release any important news or PR or games or whatever, for a similar reason in that a considerable chunk of their market is busy eating turkey and spending time with their family and not playing video games. So bit of a short one and not a ton of really earth-shattering news this week. Elsewhere on the channel, I've finally gotten my Games of May video up. Should have gone up yesterday. If you want to check that out, have a look at it there. I've also put up a Foley Plays The Good Life for a bit, was the latest one-shot video this week, and continuing the Alan Wake Let's Play. We'll be on to part 4 next week. I'm still somewhere in the middle of chapter 2, I think. Also coming up, playing a bit of House of Ashes, and I'll be playing a bit of Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. They'll be showing up on the channel at some point. And I'm also currently working on my Games of June video, and yeah, I know, I'm way behind. I still haven't decided if I'm just gonna make a Games of July to December sizzle reel thing. I don't know yet, because there's a lot of games still left to go, and some of them are 100-hour RPGs that are gonna take me a really fucking long time. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. I'm still also debating whether to turn this into a live stream instead, and just put the VOD up on YouTube and live stream it on Twitch or something like that. I'm also debating whether or not the one-shot videos, the 4-a-bit videos, will also be streamed, because I don't typically do a ton of editing for those videos. Like, there's a little bit for like syncing up audio and for cutting out some loading screens, or if I had to pause or something weird happened. But usually it's just straight recording, so that probably fits better as a live stream as opposed to the Let's Plays that do have a bit more editing to them. So I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that yet. I am looking to get back into streaming, so I guess we'll see. I'm also looking to get a better camera, and it's not even necessarily a better camera. I just need to figure out positioning for this one, because if I'm playing a game, I'll look like this, and you basically won't be able to see my face. And I'm like, what's the point? What's the point in having a face cam if you can't actually see my face? So anyway. Right, that was the news video for this week. Not a whole lot happening, but I hope you liked it anyway. Check out some other stuff on the channel, and I'll see you guys later.
Thank you.